Have you ever wondered what goes on inside the mind of a deep thinker? They're not just quiet people lost in thought, they're decoding life itself. While others see the surface, they see the patterns, the motives, the hidden meanings behind every word and every silence. Today, we're re-diving deep into the psychology of people who think deeply, and why their way of seeing the world can be both a gift and a curse. Deep thinkers live life on a frequency most people don't even know exists. They don't just react, they analyze. They don't just listen, they absorb. When someone speaks, they don't just hear the words. They hear the emotion behind the words, the hesitation in the pauses, the truth hiding between the lines. It is not that they want to overthink everything. It is that their mind never learned how to stop. Psychologically, this constant reflection comes from a high level of metacognition, the ability to think about one's own thinking. Deep thinkers are always running mental audits. Why did I react that way? What did that mean? What's the bigger picture here? This habit gives them incredible insight into themselves and others. But it can also be exhausting. Imagine analyzing life in high definition while everyone else is watching in 480p. The details others miss are impossible for you to ignore. For deep thinkers, silence is a playground. It's where they process, where they connect the dots, where they rebuild the world in their minds. They enjoy solitude not because they dislike people, but because solitude is the only time the noise quiets enough for them to think clearly. To the outside world, they may seem distant or detached, but in reality, their minds are alive, bursting with ideas, reflections, and questions most people never pause long enough to ask. This tendency is often tied to introversion, but not always. Even extroverted deep thinkers crave depth over quantity. They don't want 10 conversations. They want one real one. They re the kind of people who rather talk about the purpose of existence than discuss the weather. And that can make them hard to connect with, not because they're arrogant, but because surface-level, small talk feels like static to their brain. But here is the interesting part. Deep thinkers are not necessarily more intelligent than others. They just process differently. Their minds take longer routes through ideas, exploring every corner before reaching a conclusion. They notice patterns others overlook, emotional cues, social inconsistencies, moral contradictions. It's why they often the first to sense when something is off in a relationship or when a situation doesn't feel right. Their intuition is sharp, not because of magic, but because their subconscious has spent years collecting tiny details and connecting them into meaning. This constant reflection often gives them a deeper sense of empathy. They can put themselves in someone else's shoes so fully that they start to feel that person's pain as their own. But empathy that deep comes with emotional cost. It can blur the line between caring for others and caring others. Now let's talk about how deep thinkers handle emotions. When they're happy, they don't just feel joy, they dissect it. When they're sad, they don't just cry, they analyze why they feel broken, what triggered it, and what they can learn from it. They experience emotions in layers, and because of that, their feelings tend to linger. A moment that others would forget in hours might stay with them for days or even years. This isn't melodrama, it's a heightened awareness. Their brains store emotional data the same way a hard drive stores files. And sometimes that storage gets full. That's why deep thinkers often struggle with overthinking, anxiety, or emotional fatigue. They simply feel too much and think too much all at once. Deep thinkers often wrestle with existential questions. The big, uncomfortable ones most people avoid. Why am I here? What's my purpose? What's the point of all this? This tendency ties closely to what psychologists call openness to experience. It's one of the 5 major personality traits. People high in this trait are curious, imaginative, and drawn to abstract ideas. They're not afraid to explore uncertainty, even if it leads them into emotional or spiritual chaos. That's what makes deep thinkers philosophers at heart. They don't need a religion or a label to seek truth. They just have a relentless desire to understand. But that same curiosity can also lead to something called existential anxiety, the uneasy realization that maybe there are no solid answers. For a deep thinker, that thought isn't terrifying, it's motivating. It pushes them to keep searching, keep learning, keep evolving. Socially, deep thinkers can feel out of sync with the world. In a society obsessed with speed, noise, and instant gratification, their calm and reflective nature can be mistaken for aloofness. While others chase attention, they chase understanding. While others scroll endlessly for stimulation, They can find wonder just staring out a window. That's why they often feel like outsiders, not because they're disconnected, but because they're tuned to a quieter channel. Yet, here's the paradox. Deep thinkers crave connection more than most people. But they want connection that's real. They want relationships that challenge their minds, not just comfort their egos. They want conversations that dig into purpose, pain, and growth, not gossip or trends. And because that level of depth is rare, they often end up lonely, even when surrounded by people. This is what psychologists call existential loneliness, the feeling that no one truly sees the world the way you do. It's not sadness, it's awareness, a quiet acceptance that depth can isolate you but also make you free. When it comes to decision-making, deep thinkers walk a fine line between clarity and chaos. They see all sides, all outcomes, all possibilities, which makes them wise advisors but hesitant actors. That is the infamous analysis paralysis, when the brain has ability to consider every option becomes its own trap. They don't fear failure, they fear making the wrong meaning out of their choices. But once they finally commit, they do it with purpose. Every choice is deliberate. Every path is considered. And when they move with conviction. You can often spot a deep thinker by their creative or introspective outlets. They write, they paint, they compose, they philosophize. Not for applause, but to translate the chaos in their minds into something tangible. For them, creativity isn't a hobby, it's therapy. It's the only way to take their inner world and make it visible. That's why deep thinkers often produce art, ideas, and innovations that resonate for generations. Their thoughts outlive them because they dared to question what others simply accepted. But let's not romanticize it too much. Being a deep thinker isn't always beautiful. Their depth can lead to over-attachment, perfectionism, and emotional burnout. They can lose themselves in thought loops that never end, replaying scenarios, overanalyzing words, trying to solve people instead of problems. The same mind that brings insight can also create suffering. That's why balance is crucial. Deep thinkers must learn when to explore and when to let go. When to analyze and when to simply exist. Mindfulness, journaling, meditation, these aren't just buzzwords. They're grounding tools that help deep thinkers return to the present moment, away from the endless noise in their heads. Because sometimes the most powerful thought isn't a new one, it's silence. Psychologically, what makes deep thinkers fascinating is their neural wiring. Studies show that introspective people have more activity in the prefrontal cortex, the area of the brain responsible for reasoning, empathy, and moral reflection. Their minds are literally designed to process the world on multiple levels at once. It's not that they choose to be deep, they are deep. Their biology makes them notice, question, and interpret everything. And that's what makes them so vital to humanity. Deep thinkers are the reason society progresses. They're the ones who look at chaos and ask, what if there's a better way? They're the ones who see beyond what is, and imagine what could be. So if you're a deep thinker, stop apologizing for your depth. Yes, you might overanalyze. Yes, you might feel things others can't comprehend. But your mind is not a burden. It's a blueprint for understanding the human experience. Don't let a shallow world convince you that your reflection is weakness. Depth is power. Depth is clarity. Depth is your gift. The world doesn't need fewer deep thinkers, it needs more of them. Because while everyone else is busy reacting, deep thinkers are busy understanding. And understanding, that's where real change begins. Closing, call to action. If you found yourself in these words, you read probably one of them. A deep thinker trying to make sense of a noisy world. And that's okay. The world needs the way you see things. Stay curious, stay observant, and never stop asking why. Because the moment you stop questioning, you stop growing.